guys, welcome back to my channel. It's Lexi. Tonight's video is Insecure Season 5, Episode 4, recap, discussion, whatever you want to call it. And look, I feel like, first of all, I'm tired. So excuse me if I'm low energy tonight, but I'm tired as hell and I really want to go to bed. But I wanted to get this video done for you guys before it was too late. So tonight's episode was a lot of things. I think it was a really good one. It was a really good episode for a discussion and for the topic of Nathan, because people love to drag Nathan through the mud every chance that I bring him up or I see him online, y'all drag him. So I thought it was a really good episode just because I think that it gave us a lot more insight into him and his life, and also just like the things that make him tick. And at the end of the episode, they seem to have connected, which it was interesting. I'm usually like, yeah, Issa and Nathan, and I think after the last episode where they interacted and he left, I understood why he left. I got it. I wasn't like, oh, he shouldn't have left. I got why he left, but I also felt like they were closing out the story. So now it's like, no, they're a thing. And I don't know how I feel about it. I feel like I was liking the journey of like single Issa, but let's get into the episode bit by bit and we'll talk about it. First of all, aesthetics. I love a beach vibe. It kind of reminded me of the Coachella episode where they were all like in their swimsuits and just giving us all kind of vacation vibes. So Molly and Issa and Kelly are talking about, you know, her seeing Nathan for the first time in a week, and they haven't discussed the crying situation. And one thing about me, I'm gonna have a discussion. So I was surprised that they haven't discussed her crying while they were kissing. Like that, I think that should, like, the next day should come with the discussion. I feel like he could have asked her, you know, are you okay? What happened? Whatever. But it seemed like at the end of the episode, we find out that he thought she was crying because of him, which I thought she was crying because of Lawrence, and she said she was crying because she was overwhelmed. So probably just a mixture of Lawrence, obviously, clearly, and then Nathan just being there, and she called him because she was in emotional distress, but she wasn't ready for that. But clearly a week later, she seemingly is ready for it. I don't know. I feel really weird about it. It's a hot mess. The whole thing was awkward. It was a hot ass mess. Kelly saying, I always thought he was a weird nigga. I get it because y'all think the same thing. I've always liked Nathan, but my sister and people on the internet have been saying like, I don't really care about Nathan. I don't care for Nathan. So I think that how Kelly felt is how y'all be feeling. And then they go to play spades. And Issa not knowing how to play spades and her friends not teaching her is me in my life. I grew up in a household, we played dominoes. I never seen anyone in my home play spades. And whenever I ask people, no, they don't want to teach me. So I just be just like that, ass out, just sitting there. Like so I related to that. So then they had this whole thing with Nathan and the girl from the barbershop and like this whole little are they or are they not situation. But he wasn't dating her, come to find out, because Molly has been on her freedom, live her life tip, and also like don't waste no time. So since Issa was concerned, I'm skipping ahead here, but since Issa was like texting her about it, she was like, girl, are you dealing with Nathan? No. Okay, next. Like, what's the next problem? Let me fix it. I'm here for it. I'm here for this Molly. The haircut Molly is, I'm living for haircut Molly, okay? Then Issa is direct, which I always love when people are direct. And she was like, what's up? Like, are we good? Whatever the case may be. And he was just like, we good. Lying, not using his words, which y'all be saying all the time. He's a runner. But I always give Nathan grace because I feel like it's not often in shows like this we do have a character that is bipolar, that is talked about being bipolar and expressed his feelings before. So I tend to just be like, let's see where they take it, you know, without being like, oh no, cut him off, dead him. Like, I don't feel that way. But at that moment, I was like, okay, Nathan, she's addressing you directly. She's trying to have this conversation, and you're choosing to be like, ice, ice, baby. And I'm like, all right, Like, why? You know, but it's because he thought that she was crying because of him, like only because of him, like she didn't want to deal with him. So then the earthquake happens and they leave the beach. A few different jokes happen between Kelly being Kelly and Nathan's friend who brought the pizza being complete asshole. Like, and we finally have like a man-to-man conversation that isn't with Lawrence and his friends. And it was interesting to see, because I felt like it was a lot more honest, obviously because there's just guys in the car saying what guys want to say. And Nathan was very blunt, like, she's all over the place and she not my girl, but clearly hurt because he wants her in some capacity and he's been friend zoned, which is interesting because I feel like before Lawrence and Issa made up, like, yeah, he wanted her back, but she wasn't really giving him like that kind of energy like she wanted him back. She was still kind of giving him like the shoulder because she felt unsafe with him due to him ghosting or whatever. And then he told her he was bipolar and they had that heart to heart, but she had, you know, made up with Lawrence. So I kind of feel her like, I'm gonna hop back to you, which I think right now, it's been a year. I think they're trying to give us like, she didn't hop back to Nathan immediately, she took her time, but it is interesting that she would date him again. I don't know why I'm just so shocked that they did this. Even though I've been rooting for Nathan since I met him, I don't know why I'm shocked that they did this. And I haven't looked online to see what people are talking about. I don't know if people are happy or unhappy with this pairing. But as someone who has been Team Nathan from basically the beginning of Team Nathan, I'm like, okay, this is interesting. I thought we were going to go somewhere else with this, but here we are. The combo with him and his boys was interesting, and I could understand why he took it like that. But I think this is what happens. People don't talk, right? Like, she didn't talk to him. He didn't talk to her about what occurred. So they're just like, literally like just assuming things on both ends, you know? And Molly's over here being choosy, you know what I'm saying? Living her grown life. Shout out to Molly. And Crenshaw is on a tirade trying to slander Issa in the streets. I'm not really sure why he's so pressed. I'm not gonna lie to y'all. I told y'all in last time this review, episode 3, I guess that was, no, 2, whatever that was. I was saying that I feel like they had a miscommunication, whatever, but I did not think that she was a sellout or that she did him wrong. You know what I'm saying? Goddamn, Kofi, like, I was rooting for you, but you ended up not even close to being a love interest. So we move on. At the bar, Issa and Nathan once again try to have a conversation because Issa is just trying to clear up this weirdness, which I support 100%, and we get nowhere. It's like Nathan has a wall up, you know, and because he felt like she was crying because of him or whatever, and then she is like in her head about what's going on with him. Now we're drinking, it's people everywhere, and then his cousin and his cousin's wife show up, and it was awkward from they stepped in the door, which we see why as this episode goes on. But I was thinking that Nathan slept with the girl, cause I'm like, why is this so awkward? But no, it wasn't that messy. And then the people start to kind of like drag Nathan, like, oh, he be ghosting, he be leaving, he be doing da 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 da. But I realized as time goes on that nobody knows that he's bipolar, which I think is real life. People are gonna drag you for what they think is your fault and what you always do and your shortcomings. And it's like, damn, like they was all like ganging up on him for fun, you know, they're drinking and having a good time, but you could tell his cousin and his cousin's wife was just, it was icy, it was awkward, but they hadn't seen him since he left their house however long ago, because when he met Issa, he was living with Andrew already, so it's been a couple of years, actually. Maybe I have a soft spot, but I tend to be like, y'all going not too hard on my guy Nathan, like y'all are going hard on him. But again, nobody knew that he was bipolar. I was weak when they decided to leave the restaurant and go to the Jason Derulo situation. And the dude was like, oh, come to my house. And Molly was like, anyways, I'll go with you. Like, you know, like, Molly got a haircut. And she said, I'm living life, baby. Like, you can't tell me nothing, okay? Forget about it. I'll go with him. Don't worry about it. Don't even worry about it, sweetheart. I'm gonna go with him. I was thinking that they were in a lift, and that's where Issa and Nathan met, which was kind of cute. But I didn't know the episode was gonna take us where they took us. So Molly goes inside with the dude, and they wait in line for an hour. Couldn't be me. And I feel the show is really good at giving us these really, really raw, uncomfortable, painful conversations in a very like palatable way, but also like a, ooh, this hurts to watch kind of way. So I'm watching Nathan and his cousin have this conversation, and the cousin comes clean like, yeah, it wasn't my wife, it actually was me. You had to get out of my house because of X, Y, and Z, which I think we all can agree is understandable because he has kids and Nathan was being unpredictable. Unfortunately, people don't think often that you have mental health issues or anything else going on when you act out of character. So they just thought, okay, well, he's just too much for us. He has to go. Which, again, a young family, can you blame them? But I think you can discuss the methods in which they did it and leaving him stranded. Like, why don't you call somebody else? You know what I'm saying? Your family, at the end of the day, why don't you call someone else to step in? And I think that it was sad because you could tell that Nathan was heartbroken again, all over again, you know, and I think that he blamed the wife because that's how they framed it. But it's like, no, it actually was my own blood that put me out on the street. It's tough. It's tough. Fast forward, Nathan does what y'all say that we see Nathan do, and that's leave. It's like, use your words. But he doesn't feel comfortable with Issa in that moment, and he's struggling with his own family, putting him out on the street, essentially, you know, and how people, his friends included, view him, with him being bipolar and them not knowing it. This episode was so good, and I always feel like I don't have the range because, like, I'm like, this episode is so layered, and every episode, for the most part, gives us so much to think about, and I feel like we often like minimize, like, oh, well, he's wrong, he's right, she's wrong, she's right. But in reality, it's like real life, like humans, just super, super layered and complex. Because you can have an argument for either side all the time. At least I can. So Issa goes after him, just asking if he's okay, because you could tell in his face, it was like he was really, really jarred by what his cousin said to him, you know, that realization. And they had an honest conversation, finally. Like, we waited for half an hour for them to speak freely, clearly, honestly, without the BS that they've been putting on this whole episode. And I was shocked. I'm not gonna lie to y'all. I was like, oh, I didn't think we were gonna go here on today. So, you know, he expressed that he was manic, and he was like, you know, I can't change how people see me. And that's real shit. Like, in any scenario, you know what I'm saying? And it depends on if you care or not to change how people see you, you know? And then he turned it to her, like, I can't change how you see me. And she's like, well, what about me? You know? This is a terrible reenact to it. They have an honest moment, you know, y'all watched it. And she admits she has feelings for him. She doesn't want to be just friends with him, and why she cried wasn't about him only. And then he explains what he explains, and they kiss. I don't know. I feel like I expected them to end like this episode, so the turn that it took was just interesting for me, to say the least. I think that their communication could be better. The way they communicate could be better. They have great chemistry. They have a lot of like quirks that they have together, and they mesh. And even when we first met, like, them together, they meshed almost instantly, you know. But the communication just lacks. It took so much for them to have this conversation. And I just hope since we're all growing and the show is ending and trying to get better and better and better, I hope that they are able to communicate, because it just was like, oh, we waited a half an hour, lots of Issa trying to talk to him and him not really talking back until the very end. Interesting episode. I feel like they tackle this topic of mental health and how your community sees you and how they judge you, you know what I'm saying, really, really well. This episode was gorgeous. Everybody looks so freaking good. But that's pretty much my thoughts on the episode. Let me know, because y'all be really hating on Nathan in my comments. So I cannot wait to hear your thoughts about this episode. Definitely a lighter episode than last week, but still heavy topics, a good topic. And we have like answers to why he left, you know, and where they are now. The season is halfway done. Is it gonna be 8 episodes or 10? I'm not sure. I think it's gonna be 8. Either way, we're like halfway done with the season, which is crazy. Like what? Crazy. Thanks for watching, guys. Give the video a thumbs up on your way out if you enjoyed it. If you are new here, join me, subscribe, join the family. And I'll see you guys in the next one.